Closing arguments made today for the immunity hearing of a former Decatur police officer on trial for murder. A decision from the judge could come in as soon as this week. The hearing for Marquette is meant to decide whether he will go to trial next month for the deadly shooting of Decatur resident Steve Perkins. It was during a truck repossession dispute in front of Perkins' home back in September of 2023. Fox 54's Ken McCoy was in the courtroom and has the latest details on what transpired.
Wednesday's closing arguments covered a scope of things, including DPD's policy and procedures the night of the event. But in all, it came down to one simple question: were the actions of officers the night Steve Perkins was shot and killed lawful? The defense team for Marquette argued that their client acted within the law during the repossession incident in question. They strongly contested the state's claim that Marquette and other officers had been assisting in the towing of a truck, suggesting that this characterization was inaccurate. They argued that violence was introduced to the situation by Perkins since he pointed the gun first. They said that if he had his gun by his side, it could have gone differently. The defense continued by arguing that officers had little time to react as the weapon was pointed directly at a uniformed law enforcement officer. On the other hand, the state argues that several actions by law enforcement officers, including Marquette, could have prevented the events of that night from unfolding. The state argued that officers were fully aware that the first attempt at repossession did not go well, and knowingly and willingly chose to introduce themselves and two civilians into a potentially dangerous situation. One key point made was that officers could have taken steps such as announcing their presence earlier to ensure that Perkins was fully aware of their presence, which could have diffused the situation. Judge Elliott, overseeing the hearing, took a more in-depth approach to ensure that both sides clearly understood each other's positions. He asked both the defense and the state to clarify their reasoning on the matter. In the process, multiple legal cases were referenced from the defense, including an Alabama stand your ground case. Judge Elliott further pressed both sides to elaborate on how these cited cases applied to the issue at hand. At the close of the hearing, Judge Elliott emphasized the importance of thoroughly reviewing all the testimony and evidence before making a decision. He stated that he owed it to both sides to clearly evaluate everything before issuing a ruling. In Decatur, Ken McCoy, Fox 54 News.
Thank you, Ken. There was no date or time given on when a decision will be made, but we'll keep you updated as the case continues.